You haven't seen it recently.
Alright, we're back. We're doing a drunk movie fight between the Lentz brothers, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Henry is the judge in this one, but we are at a new location. We're in Regency Park now. It's an improvement from Sunflower, but you know me and the J-Man. This is Nathan. We've seen him before.
First, last, inactive channel.
Yeah. And this is, you never seen this guy before. This is our oldest Lentz brother, Nick.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And we're just, I don't know.
Do I need to do the timing?
No, or I mean, just generally think of it. But I don't know if Henry said, but yeah, we're a little buzzed right now. We're gonna just debate, fight.
By the spill on my shirt, the international sign for
topics, and it'll be fun. It'll be funny. Hopefully be entertaining. Yeah.
All right. So the first question, we'll start with Nick, is the best comedy of the decade so far.
All right, so I don't even remember the first time I saw this movie, but I know I was very underwhelmed with the first. But I've come to my senses, watched it a good 10 more times, and I think This Is the End is the best comedy since 2010. I think it's great because it's only their friends doing it, which is exactly the type of movie I would want to make. It's just like, screw it, we'll find funding and we'll just like mess around. And it ends with a Backstreet Boy song, In Heaven, and fucking segues. Like, that's a match made in heaven. That was meant to be a joke. It didn't work.
So good pick. I really like that movie. My pick is Trainwreck, the 2015 movie with Bill Hader, Amy Schumer.
I didn't see it. I like Bill Hader.
What I like about this movie so much is that, like, yes, it's really funny. It is very funny, but it's also just a really good movie because it's like probably technically a rom-com, so there is just like weight attached to it, and like you actually care about the characters. And great cast. Those two I said has a very, very funny LeBron. Like, he's in the movie. He's hilarious in it. He like maybe steals the movie. And I love Bill Hader. I just think he's been so funny the last couple years. And yeah, there's Daniel Radcliffe's in it. It's got like a great cast. It's just a really, really funny movie.
I didn't remember the Daniel Radcliffe.
He's just in like one scene.
Okay, so for my movie, I decided to go. I was tempted to do Wolf of Wall Street, but that had too much dramatic parts to it. Yeah, so I didn't do that. So I decided to do 21 Jump Street. It's got a prime Jonah Hill not being a fat sack of shit, and it's got Dave Franco at his peak. Channing Tatum coming out into the comedic performances like no one's ever seen him before. Yeah, I mean, you just got an amazing story, getting to see them go back into high school, and there's so many funny situations come about it. I gotta say, it's the funniest movie out of all three that we've said, without a doubt, and it's got some actors that you truly love.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna fight it out now. My first rebuttal, first reaction is that, like, for you, like how you said 21 Jump Street, good movie, but like it's got a great story. No, it doesn't. Like, it doesn't, like people older than high school going back.
Trainwreck does? It's a rom-com.
Going back.
How many times have we seen?
Whoa. Big Fat Wedding.
People going back to high school, like, that is not a great story. That's been done so many times. Like, it's based off a TV show. It's not original at all. And then like you, like, for This Is the End, like, really funny movie, but I feel like the idea of it is actually funnier than it is. And like, as I said, like, I think we're best comedy movie, not maybe like Trainwreck, where over both years, clearly it is much a more dramatic movie. Like, you care more, you connect more. I think it's the best movie.
I have not seen Trainwreck, but I can tell you one thing. The reason why This Is the End is the best comedy movie is because comedy, like, it's supposed to be spontaneous and catch you off guard. Literally everyone dies. The apocalypse happens, and it ends with them all just like smoking weed and dancing in heaven. Like, that's a hilarious. Like, throughout the whole movie, you're thinking like, how are they going to get out of this? They don't. It's funny. It throws you through a loop. Everything in it's just like, why you like those actors? Because they're just like being themselves and hanging out and having fun.
21 Jump Street is an argument in its own, and I don't need to make too much of a point about it because I already have. So what I'll do instead is I'll say why your answer is wrong. Trainwreck, terrible choice. First of all, it's the least funny of all the movies. LeBron's hilarious, I'll give him that. But Amy Schumer... I mean, Bill Hader is legit, but Amy Schumer's in there and just stealing jokes left and right, and she's just the most unlikable actress in Hollywood.
That shouldn't be hot take.
It's true.
And that shouldn't be the influencer for the movie.
Back to This Is the End. I really like that movie, but just there's a point of diminishing returns, with dick jokes and masturbating jokes, and just
each funny.
I feel that where Trainwreck exceeds and pushes past that's a long movie too. That's over 2 hours. So that's not what you see typical comedy movie. I feel like Trainwreck is just a good movie, where maybe those other ones are good comedy movies. I think anyone would like Trainwreck.
I think 21 Jump Street excels as a comedy movie few have.
I think This Is the End has the spontaneity and fun in a movie. It serves a very specific purpose. And that purpose, I think, is 100% met by This Is the End. You just want to have fun. You want to laugh with these people that you know pretty well. And that's what it gives you.
So do we decide a winner right now, or do we keep going?
Henry decides. You stop it whenever you want. I
can call the fight off?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I made my winner on that round. Do I tell you, or do I wait to the end to announce it?
You tell us.
I chose Nick to be that winner. Wow. And it was a really close round. There were several points in it where I thought, okay, I'm definitely giving this to Jake. I'm definitely giving this to Nathan. And I felt like Nick's last point was the best. And I definitely feel like your movie had the most criticism. I would also say you defended your movie the best, but you weren't as good about attacking the other two movies.
Yeah. Okay, so remember, Hens, just that you're kind of the leader of this. So if you
once again, I thought it was a 15-second rebuttal for each.
No, that's at the very end with the quick thing. So just jump in whenever if you feel like you need to get more from this person or that person.
Okay.
If you think the fight's done, just call it. So second fight.
That fight went to decision. It was very close.
Petty.
Yeah, Nick won the first one.
All right, so now we're gonna start with Jake on this one, and
you should write down what the score is.
I did.
Okay, just so I remember.
It's gonna be best vocal performance in any Pixar movie.
All right, so I think great question. It's interesting, but I think there's a clear winner. I definitely think it's Amy Poehler in Inside Out. This movie is literally about emotions. And I just she plays the character of Joy in Inside Out, which is a fantastic movie. But Amy Poehler, just all her roles, her whole career, she is just such a perfect actress to play that role of Joy. I just think she fits it perfectly, and how the movie is about emotions. There's that movie's also like a lot of Pixar movies. It's very serious at times, very heartbreaking at times, and I think the serious emotional scenes in that movie she kills and does a very good job. And I think Amy Poehler in Inside Out is the best vocal performance.
All right, Nathan.
Okay, I respect that opinion because it's more of a dark horse. You're not going to go Tom Hanks in Toy Story or something. So I respect that you did something different. Well, I also did something a little bit different. I chose what I think is the obvious answer, and that's Billy Crystal in Monsters, Inc. Okay. Truly masterful. He's got one of the best voices in Hollywood.
Good choice.
And put to work as Mike Wazowski. Countering John Goodman in that film, which that's just a perfect duo between comedy and drama within a kid's film, and that's what the movie ultimately does with the comedy of Mike Wazowski just being crazy and the monsters scaring children. But in the end, you get a complete tear-jerking scene between John Goodman and the kid. Mm-hmm. It works perfectly. Billy Crystal is so good as Mike Wazowski. He's hilarious. Mike Wazowski, Monsters, Inc.
All right.
So I think the biggest part of this question is acknowledging that this is a Pixar slash Disney category, which means that you're choosing among elite movies and elite storylines, and someone being able to capture that is very hard to find. So that's why I do choose Tom Hanks. Because first of all, Tom Hanks. Second of all, who show me one person in our age bracket who like doesn't have a fond memory of Toy Story. Great movie. It's an important movie.
Is it Toy Story or Toy Story 2 or Toy Story 3?
See, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. He encapsulated that character so much that I'm saying it spans all three.
Henry, do you think that's like...
It is the best vocal performance.
You could say Woody.
But I mean, it's the question.
What is the question? Can I get the question again?
Best voice performance in any Pixar movie.
In any Pixar movie, any, I am implying to mean any as in more than one. And my arguments against both of you is that neither of you had the breadth of Tom Hanks in Toy Story. Tom Hanks in Toy Story like lets you laugh, lets you like realize that you're growing up. You cried a lot. Like, it's an important role. I would say it's a defining role in the storyline of Pixar and Disney. Granted, it was not part of Disney at the time, but it's an important role. I think that's necessary.
I'll start the rebuttal. For who'd you pick? Mike Wazowski, Billy Crystal?
Yeah, Billy Crystal, Monsters.
Okay. For my rebuttal for that pick is just that I feel that like for both mine and Nick's characters, they're both the leads. Like for you, like John Goodman, whatever his name, Sully is clearly the lead of that movie. I feel like John Goodman and the kid have the best scenes, the best emotional scenes. Like I feel like Billy Crystal is clearly playing second fiddle, and like he's obviously good, he's hilarious, but like I feel like just that John Goodman is like the star of that movie.
When you think back 10 years after you've seen it, you don't remember what the big blue bear's name is. You remember what the little green monster that was fucking hilarious. That's Mike Wazowski.
Lord.
And then like my beef with you, Nick Bob, is that like is that undoubtedly like maybe of like probably like modern like movie history, if you're talking about most like influential like animated movies, like Toy Story is definitely like maybe one, like or like Lion King or something like that. But like I feel like the Toy Story movies are like so good, but just like a all around great movie from everything. I feel like if you're just looking at like if you don't get like Joy right and Inside Out, I feel like that completely plummets it. Like I like if you get like Toy Story, like in Toy Story 3 in particular, my favorite of those three, like I think that's just like an incredible like thing that we all can relate to, like how like it's about like kids growing up in like the first one in 1995 and then the third one going to college, and literally 18 years later, 2013 came out, where like those parents and those kids can relate to that story the whole time. I feel that if
sounds like you're making an argument for me.
No, I feel that like no, my point is that like if you don't, I feel like the movie of Toy Story and Toy Story 3 are incredible, but like the performance, I feel Toy Story 3 is better than Inside Out, but like I feel the performance of Amy Poehler and Joy is more important to that movie than Tom Hanks, Woody is to Toy Story.
Okay, this may be a bit unorthodox, and feel free to call me out if you feel so. But what's the story to Inside Out? I don't really remember. Do you guys remember that much?
Well, we're not talking about the story.
Okay, no, I am talking about the story.
I accept this evidence.
I don't think Inside Out is that memorable of a movie, and I think that although Amy Poehler might be a great role in that movie, it pales in comparison to Tom Hanks in Toy Story, because a vocal performance, like the specific wording of the question involved vocal performance. To perform something is to encapsulate it completely, which Tom Hanks did so much better than how both of you are describing. Like, as great as Tom Hanks has been, that's the role that I see him in, and that's the role that he grew into and knew how to play better than anyone else could.
Okay, I think we're both in agreement that Jacobs is clearly
clearly the worst.
You guys should just hate me.
Make better decisions.
I mean, Tom Hanks is such a megastar that when you hear Woody's voice, you know that's Tom Hanks and he's playing Woody.
You guys are just talking about being iconic and
Billy Crystal, he has an iconic voice, but you don't think about that's Billy
Amy
Crystal.
Moore has an iconic voice.
We're getting off topic.
Well, let him talk.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Crystal just completely loses himself in that role. He does. That's not Billy Crystal playing. That's Mike Wazowski playing. He just performs that character to its absolute max. No one could have done that character better. Billy Crystal did an incredible job in Monsters, Inc.
Okay, I just comes back to just round it up. My feeling is that of these particular individual characters, who delivers like the most tear-jerking, most emotional performances, I feel that Amy Poehler does. Because I feel, as I said before, I feel like most of that goes to John Goodman in Monsters Inc. And then I feel that I feel that Tom Hanks and Woody is just more like especially the first Toy Story is more just like a fun movie and just more of like an original idea. I feel that Inside Out is more of an emotional movie than Toy Story.
Well, it doesn't.
Tear-jerking doesn't.
The question doesn't say like what was more tear-jerking.
I said best performance. I'd say that is the hardest stuff. Amy Poehler has the hardest stuff in Inside Out.
We all made our argument.
Billy Crystal makes him laugh.
Are we making closing arguments?
Actually, Nick didn't make his closing argument.
Okay, my closing argument is that the role of a vocal performance is to let you move beyond the actor, let you move beyond the fact that you're watching a movie, moving beyond the fact that you're watching a Pixar Disney cartoon. It's bringing you to such an emotional state, and going off of Jacob's emotional, joyful. No, what I'm saying is that Tom Hanks as Woody is more than just Tom Hanks saying the lines of Woody. It's working with the pieces necessary to create a truly inspiring role that transcends not only vocal performances and cartoons, but just the medium of movies. That's my quote.
Words, Nick.
Nathan, do you have a closing argument?
I made mine.
All right.
Do you want to call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Nate. So you guys both had a rebuttal and a closing argument. Nathan just had he kind of fought you up, but he had a rebuttal too.
I can't argue with Tom Hanks in Toy Story.
Yeah, and I understand that. And honestly, I gotta give this to Nick again.
I'll take it.
But yeah, I was very close to giving it to Nathan, and if he would have gave me a convincing closing argument, probably would have gave it to him. I really liked where his head was at, and I like his reasoning. Jake, I really liked your reasoning for yours, but I really did not like your objections to the other two movies. I didn't find them to be hold merit to the question. But overall, I really like the way that I like the way you defended your stance.
Inside Out, it's not a big enough movie.
It's not about the movie, you bitch. It's about
And I didn't let this judge sway my opinion either, but I haven't seen that movie, so is Jake just lying? I don't know.
All right, don't mind me.
Third question. I'll start with Nathan.
Next up, 2-0.
Best performance by a kid in a movie.
Okay. Well, I can guarantee no one's seen this movie besides me and Jacob, so it's going to be a tough time winning this argument. But I didn't want to go with an easy answer or just a fun answer like Chunk and the question is best child performance. Did you say that? I'm stupid. I didn't want to go with a funny answer, an easy answer, for example, Chunk and Goonies, although that'd be a crazy answer. So I decided to go with a performance that affected me honestly no movie ever has. And that's let me check his name because he's a child that I don't know. Louis McDougall in A Monster Calls. Now, Jacob...
I don't know this movie.
Absolutely incredible movie. It's about a child dealing with his mother being diagnosed with cancer, and it's terminal. So throughout the entire film, he's just kind of dealing with the fact that he's going to lose his mother, and he ends up deciding that he wants it to happen just because he wants it to stop being delayed. And Jacob sat next to me during this movie, and I was crying my eyes out like basically no other movies made me do.
Yeah, just taking off the sunglasses, son.
I just didn't want to show that much emotion to Jake, but the movie just merited it, and most of it relies on Louis McDougall because he was just so fantastic, and he brought about emotions to me that I didn't know I have.
All right, Nathan. Nick?
Hands on stuff.
You know,
You might.
I'll admit I'm not a fan of children. Just as a principal.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
Never mind. Okay, so my selection for best child performance is Gerald Gilman in Wes Anderson's.
I think I know where you're going.
Fuck.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the main
Yeah.
boy?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
I knew
Okay,
that was you
so
said.
Wes Anderson has a very specific style to his movies that I guess what I'm saying is that he was the best for that role. I think that like Wes Anderson has such a specific style and has like built a reputation at this point. So like, you know what you're getting with a Wes Anderson movie. You want to have fun. It's a little weird. There's weird people in it. He plays that perfect role of like fun and weird and like cool and just like saying stuff that you would not expect a 12-year-old to say. And I think it caught me off guard in terms of its ability to make me laugh, which I appreciate in a 12-year-old, I guess.
All right. So my pick is maybe it's one of the more popular picks, but I think there's a reason for that. I think it's the best choice. My pick is Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense.
Of course.
I think that movie, it's an incredible movie, first off. But I just think one of the biggest reasons why that this is my pick is that movie fails without him, and just that Bruce Willis is the co-lead in that movie, and he completely outshines Bruce Willis. He got Haley Joel Osment. He got nominated for an Oscar for that movie. Just incredible, and like a lot of what he shows in that movie is just what he's afraid of and what he like scares him, and what and then that's the first half, and the second half is he's trying to understand these dead people that he can talk with, and he is. I just think it's an incredibly mature role for someone that young, and it's just I think it's something that you don't see a lot of skill that a lot of adult actors don't have.
All right, I want to make the first rebuttal. Nick, your answer is wrong because it's a Wes Anderson film. You think back to all the Wes Anderson films, I would say there's only one performance that's truly just amazed me in a Wes Anderson film. That's Ray Fiennes in A Grand Budapest Hotel. With the way that Wes Anderson movies are made, it's so based on their quirkiness and their stylish form, and actors will get like 6 seconds to say their dialogue, and it's just something weird and quick, and then they'll jump on in the next scene. That doesn't require as much talent as either of these two movies have required. I mean, your guy, he did a fantastic job in his role, but it's still Wes Anderson film, and like not too much was asked of him. And then Jacob, I was really tempted to say Haley Joel Osment because that's the really obvious choice to do. But I would actually disagree with his remark that the movie couldn't go on with any other actor, because I did think
that.
I do think like the movie, like Haley Joel Osment, he stumbles like at some scenes. It's not very often because Haley Joel Osment was fantastic in that movie, like obviously. But I would say there's a few scenes where he screws up, and I can't think of that in Louis McDougall.
A Monster Calls. I feel just that. I don't know. I guess that just it just didn't hit me like it hit you, I guess, and I just feel that any of the performances didn't hit me like it did you, and it's just. I feel like most of that movie is just it's kind of cheesy, like it's I just think it like it's just like so dramatic, and just like that's a movie that like wants to like rip your heart out, and just like just like gets like pleasure from it, and just we're gonna make people cry, like and people
focus on the actor, not the movie
and
performance.
And I just feel that like he's like the heart of that movie, and so that he wants to like make you cry, and that movie set out to make you cry, and that I just feel that a lot of that movie is just like him like in a daydream, just in different fantasy scenarios, and
a lot is an exaggeration.
And it's not actually like addressing like the issue with his mom, and
no, there's the best scene of the movie is where it addresses that.
Well, yeah,
he admits to himself that he wants his mom to die because he doesn't want to keep going on
he
living in this anguish.
Yeah, he does a good job. I just I don't think I feel that's like a very like childlike role, or just like child actors often get like pigeonholed to do like specific roles, so either be like funny and cute or like be like overly emotional. But like I feel like true like dramatic like maturity, I feel that's Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. Like he was not just funny or cute, and he was not just like saying lines to make you cry because a child said them. I feel he was just mature, and I feel he was the best performance. And I like Nathan's take on Wes Anderson movies, that I feel is just more his style, and I feel that again, like Wes Anderson doesn't really have like movies that really tailor to like performances and awards like that. I feel like just the overall picture, and he was funny, and it was like kind of touching, like at that relationship. But I feel that Haley Joel Osment did the best performance and the most adult. And
what I would say to that is that both of you brought up the fact that it's a Wes Anderson movie, as did I, because it's an important part of it. But what I would say is that why do you think Wes Anderson gets these big name actors? Bill Murray's in every movie of his, just about.
Ed Norton.
What? Ed Norton, also in almost every almost in every movie. He just gets these actors because he knows what he wants to work with, and that's a powerful performance. Bill Murray is good at doing a powerful performance. Ed Norton has one of the most like powerful performance of the year 1998.
Best all time.
One of them.
Hot take. Hot take. Either way, so I'm saying that this child named Jared Gilman,
great man.
I better have a beer first here. But either way, he adds to that role because we've all been a pretty, I guess, less than confident 12-year-old, and like making the decisions he made are not easy ones to make. Granted, they're like put in the twist of Wes Anderson movies, but Wes Anderson's storylines are dark, and he was able to play to that ability to keep it lighthearted, but also run away from his family and like convince a girl to like love him. And at the age of 12, to have that ability, even in a Wes Anderson movie, that's a real skill that I don't think too many can have. To answer both of you, haven't seen it, so I'm not even going to talk about it. Ow! Why'd you do that? And
hopefully that'll give me points with the
judge. And in Sixth Sense, I mean, he was great in it, but it's a Bruce Willis movie.
What? No, it is not.
I'm leaving it off. I feel really bad because I think Nathan's finished second place in all three, so he doesn't have any points.
Don't like feel bad for someone. Just go with what you think.
I'm just saying, like maybe if we do this again, we should do like a place system,
like 30
1, 2, 3. And then and then add like the places up, and whoever has like the most.
Who's the winner?
Jake's the winner.
Yeah, baby.
No,
he's the judge.
I know. That was obvious. That was my worst question. We can move on from here.
0. Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, like I said, if we were doing it in like places, you would have third place, first place. That's 7. Nathan would have second place, second place. So that's 6. And then Nick would have first place, third place. That's 5.
Okay, well that's not how the
argument's over, but I want to say one more thing.
No.
Just a little note. I mean, we're having a conversation. Like, think of the scene in Sixth Sense where he's saying, like, the truth and a lie. Like, you step towards him if he has a truth.
That's a good scene. It's a really good scene.
That's nothing. Any actor could do that.
No, that's.
I mean, there's several scenes where like Haley Joel Osment doesn't make a huge impact on the movie just because he's doing a great performance.
Close movie.
It is.
Okay, let's just move.
Do you want to re-reward that?
Let's just move past from that. But I feel like just especially because like watching a second viewing what he knows, I feel like it's a really good performance.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's one of the best.
This one.
Just had to make some criticisms.
So he started. Now Nick started.
Back to me.
Yeah, Nick starts again. So, what's the best performance in a Tarantino movie? I know there's some controversy.
Yeah, some serious controversy, you could say. All right, so, well, I'm a fan of just about all Tarantino movies, and I think he does an amazing job of casting his characters. I would say no one was able to more encapsulate their character than Major Marquez Warren, Samuel L. Jackson, Hateful Eight. Okay. So specifically the way the movie is set up, like how isolated you feel, and even from other people in the room. I'm first row. I'm surrounded. The theater's sold out, but like the performance of him specifically in the movie itself makes you feel like you are like there.
You're
just
trying to get
watching.
brownie points with Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren. Yes. But either way, Major Marquez Lauren is one of the more original characters I've seen in like modern movies. And I think that Samuel L. Jackson does an amazing job of bringing his swagger and his ability to this role. Yeah.
Okay. Good pick.
Check me.
So my pick is not my favorite Tarantino movie by any means. It's good. It's really good. I feel it's a little overrated, but I do think probably the best performance in a Tarantino movie is Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Basterds. The first time I watched that movie, I did not love it. I watched it recently, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and it really is really good, and Christoph Waltz is incredible in it. He is just so damn frightening. I mean, if you've seen that movie once, like if you just saw it, like when it came out in theaters, you remember that first scene. It's incredible. And he's asked to do so much in that movie. Like Tarantino has done interviews about like how there's just a handful of people in the world that you could have do that role. Just speak English, speak German, and not many.
Dance on his chair. It's a big one.
I mean, so few people could perform. Literally, so few people could do that role, and he's just so frightening. And he the most popular picks for like best villains in movie history is like Darth Vader, Hannibal Lecter, and sure they deserve to be there. But I do feel that like Christoph Waltz as Hans Landa in Inglourious Basterds definitely deserves to be there. I feel he's so frightening, and there's just some scenes where you just forget about the movie and you just focus on him. Like holy crap! Like Tarantino, like you should never take the camera away from him. Just keep it on him the entire time. Like he is just so interesting, so dark, so scary. And in Tarantino does, he like it can also be like really darkly funny as well. I think it's incredible.
Okay. Well, I'm with you on the Christoph Waltz performances in Tarantino movies. Because I'm with Django Unchained and Christoph Waltz. Also an Oscar winner for both of our.
No one went with
Samuel L. Jackson and Pulp.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the movie, for one, is called Django Unchained. So you would think that the protagonist is Django, which it is, but towards the beginning of the movie, Django is he's a chained slave. He's no one. And Christoph Waltz makes him everything he is. He comes in, he kills 3 guys, unchains him, buys him, works his way up to being just a runaway slave that got captured to being the incredible man that's gonna revenge his wife and come out with that amazing action scene we see at the end of the movie. But it's really all because of Christoph Waltz. And at the same time, has the best movie beard I think I've ever seen. I mean, that thing is glorious. It's what everyone strives to have. Yeah. And there's something to say about Christoph Waltz's accent because it's beautiful and it's something I want to fall asleep to because it's
Oh, good.
It's so soothing. But yeah, I mean, I respect Christoph Waltz. He's an incredible actor, and he has one of the best scenes, like suspenseful scenes I've seen in movies, in Inglourious Bastards. But I think Django Unchained is definitely his best performance, and that's without question. I mean, and also, it's about the movie. Performances are what we're arguing, but if I don't care about the movie as much as I care about it in movie A compared to movie B, then I'm going to care about the performance in movie B more, because I like the movie, as in Django, over Inglourious Bastards. I think Django is fantastic, and because of that, I'm more invested in Christoph Waltz's character, and I mean, yeah, he was a legendary performance. He won an Oscar for it.
Just to start the rebuttal, I feel like Christoph Waltz, start with you, Christoph Waltz, just that, like, the question is about the question about the performance, and I feel that the Inglourious Basterds one is better, and just that, like, I think, like, yes, he won an Oscar for both, but like, yes, he won an Oscar for that one, but like, I think it is questionable whether or not he did the best performance in that movie. Like, I feel like there's several incredible performances, like Jamie Foxx as Django and Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy. So I mean, there's several like performances in that movie that are great. Just that, but like,
you can't blame it for being a better movie.
But like, it is a better movie. But like Inglourious Basterds, I feel that when it goes to Christoph Waltz, you have to pay attention and you have to be on the edge of your seat. I just feel it demands the audience's attention more, because I think it's more captivating, it's more scary. It's not that that's like what it has to be, but I feel it draws the audience in more. And then I feel like with Hateful Eight, Samuel L. Jackson, I mean, like, it is undoubtedly a good performance, and he does some great monologues. But I feel like it is like a Samuel L. Jackson performance in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Like, it's not even the best.
It's when you think of it, it's just the. I mean, like, we've seen it so many times before, and it's just Samuel L. Jackson being Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I feel that, like, Christoph Waltz I don't know, it was just better, and, like, Samuel L. Jackson just did his thing, like, in Hateful Eight. That's what he does. He does monologues, and he says some funny lines. He says some, like, violence, like, type lines, and he swears a lot, and he said, I feel like it was just Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay. So what I would say to you, Nathan, is that you really are talking up the character. The only real, like, arguments I'm hearing from you are about why the character is great, why this character was able to do this, and this character was able to make Jamie Foxx do this. I think that it's more about the individual performance. I think that without Samuel L. Jackson, Major Marcus Warren. Major Marcus Warren would just be, if nothing else, a weird character in the movie. But think about the storyline in that movie. He was able to convince people that, or me and characters in the movie, that he had a letter written to him by Abraham Lincoln. That is being able to switch from, as Jacob put it, a monologuing, like, funny lined, like, guy who yells, to, like, a very wholesome, like, oh, I better go now. I can't remember Abraham Lincoln's what. Yeah, Sally Lincoln. I don't know history that Abraham Lincoln's wife is Abraham Lincoln's wife is calling me. Like, that was a touching moment in a movie that should not have had any touching moments, and I think it was because of his performance that was able to happen. To answer you, I would say that Christoph Waltz wasn't important enough in that movie. Like, Hateful Eight, the whole thing is that they are in this room together. Samuel L. Jackson is in every fucking scene. Christoph Waltz is in maybe half the scenes. He did give a good performance, but Samuel L. Jackson was a part of everything in that movie. Christoph Waltz was not. If anything, half of Inglourious Basterds was in spite of Christoph Waltz, where every single thing had to do with Samuel L. Jackson's actions and reactions to what is happening around them, and I don't think anyone else but him could have done that.
I feel that, like, it's, you say that he's not in the movie much, that he doesn't affect the movie much. I completely disagree. He is, the Inglourious Basterds are the group that are killing the Jews, that are killing the Nazis. He is the general, the head of the Nazis. He's what the movie is about. They're not
Nazis in France.
What?
How do the Nazis in France?
He's the general of the group that the movie is focused on. He is entirely, like, very important in the movie. He is not just a character that shows up and there's no, like, beginning, middle, and end. Like, and it's very, his end is very intriguing. Just that he goes against Hitler, and I just thought it was very interesting, and a lot of people do, because a lot of people love that movie. How that movie is not, that is a Tarantino look at history. It is not true. It is not how Hitler dies in that movie by getting shot up in a theater. And, like, that character goes against Hitler in the end, then he gets, like, scalped. And, like, so I feel like that, no, I feel that he is at the heart of that movie, and he is very involved in that movie. And just because he's not, like, on the screen a ton as, like, Brad Pitt is, I still think you feel his presence and his constant, like, through the character, the female, who is probably the heart of that movie. Just how
female,
the blonde, like, I like
Helena Troy is also in that movie, and she's blonde. The French girl.
Yeah, she is the heart of that movie, and just how from the beginning of the movie, with the scene where in her house and she runs away, he starts it with there, he scares her there, he scares her with the incredible strudel scene at the restaurant, and then
great scene.
And then I think he kills her at the end. I can't even remember. I feel that him scaring the protagonist of the movie is in the beginning, middle, and the end. And I feel he's incredible, and it scares the crap out of you, and he is just so good. And it's just some of the most, especially the first scene, but the entire movie is just some of the most tense movie scenes you'll ever see. Tarantino's legend.
All right, hang on.
Anybody's rebuttal?
Okay, so are we on rebuttal or are we on closing?
We're on rebuttal.
We're on rebuttal, and Nathan hasn't rebutted yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nick,
I'm looking for.
You have made a great argument, and it's scaring me that Henry's going to pick you again because your argument has been so strong. But the fact cannot be denied. This is not even the best Samuel L. Jackson performance in a Tarantino movie.
No, it's not.
His best Tarantino's like best movie, arguably, and his most iconic movie is Pulp Fiction. And Samuel L. Jackson is at his best in Pulp Fiction. He delivers
much deeper. He's talking about, like, God and what is his purpose.
This is
no. I mean, he's completely right, and he also
you say it then.
He's talking about God.
I don't listen to Nathan.
And I mean, he has like one of the best movie monologues of all time.
And that was before we had heard it so many times. Or like. It is not the best Samuel Jackson performance.
Yeah, I mean, you made a very good argument, and that's why I'm worried Henry's going to pick you. But I mean, I hope he just sees through that.
We can't.
Can we not reference him?
Well, we can reference that he exists, but also like this. This is an argument between us talking about who's Henry.
The main point of this argument.
You're not playing to Henry. You're playing to the truth, which Samuel L. Jackson delivers. As major.
I'm calling it out, like Nathan said, this is and like Jake said earlier, this is not about like Nick had to take opinions that weren't even his. It's about taking an opinion and defending it. It doesn't matter if it's necessarily right or not, in my opinion. But it's matter who defends it the best and who used the best reasoning. And yeah, I could give it to Nathan to make because it was very close, but like. that would just be like I'd be like corrupting myself as a judge. Like Nick won.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I mean I don't know what to say. Like, and I don't think I'm
That was
being.
my third pick.
So Nick is undoubtedly in the championship.
Why did no one
match.
pick Samuel Jackson?
Nick was undoubtedly in the championship match once he won 2.
No,
Because
it could have been 2-2, and who knows who goes between the two of them. It could have been 2-2-1. Who knows?
Then the one would have been up.
then the one would be out and there'd be a championship match.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
Wait, did Nick
now
sweep
just
it?
to be-
Oh, wait, no, we still have one more.
Yeah. So you can still get in. Yeah, it's between me and you for the
All right.
final.
All right, I have a good one for this last one.
All right, so this
Wait. Before we get going, can we get some refreshments?
I was gonna say I'm getting pretty tired.
Yeah, I gotta pee as well.
How do we pause? Can we pause?
No.
We can pause
Yeah,
it.
you can pause it.
All right, we'll be back.
All right,
And we're back.
We're brothers are back. Ken's last regular question. Just to set it up, Nick he is in the speed round, the final round.
Okay, so the top 2 go into the speed round.
Yep. So Nathan has to win this one to have a chance to go in. If Nathan does not win, he's not in.
Just to rub it in his fucking face, Jacob. That's so All right. So is it me who goes first now?
It's
No,
me.
Jake.
Henry,
Okay.
ask the question. If you have time.
When you get around to it.
Best movie death.
Okay. So I chose the Death of Boromir in Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, cool.
It's one of the best movies of all time. It's one of the best trilogies of all time. I just feel it's incredibly emotional, and just for so many reasons. Just that, like, if you've seen that movie, just for a while, it's complex, that character Boromir, just because for a while he's portrayed as a bad guy within the group. But no, he's not. He's not a bad guy. He's just maybe a little weaker than some, and he gets he lusts after the ring. But no, he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy, and he dies defending the hobbits who clearly could not defend themselves against the Uruk-hai. They would demolish them if they went in a fight, and it's just incredibly emotional.
Man, you can fucking wear those glasses every fucking day of your life.
I want them.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. No, Henry, I'm in the middle of my pitch. Don't interrupt it. I'm trying to make my pitch. It's incredibly emotional. It's played incredibly by Sean Bean. The music of Lord of the Rings, the score is incredible to those movies. It's just so emotional. And it's just beautiful, and he dies. He fights at the very end, and just not a lot of good characters, like characters you root for, die in those movies. So I feel it makes it like more, even like that much more like powerful and that much more emotional when he dies, because when you think of like iconic deaths in like the Lord of the Rings movies, it's Boromir you think of, because he is one of the very few good guys that die in those movies, maybe the only one. So Boromir is my pick.
Well, it's me next. And when we looked over the initial 5 questions of what we were going to be arguing, this was the most daunting to me, because there's just, I mean, a death in a movie is such an impactful thing to the plot and to the audience's emotion. And I mean, there's just so many movies to span from it when it comes to this question. So I was really nervous. I didn't know what I was going to pick. I was just scrolling through movies. And the first one I came to with an impactful death, I realized like this has to be it, because, well, I mean, I'll explain after I say what it is. It's John Doe in Seven. Now, his death is set up like almost no other death is set up in movies. You get a 15-minute soliloquy of him driving in with the 2 protagonists of the film, and him just saying how society is so fucked up and how his murders are justice because he's correcting society. And then you have one of the most tense endings on the edge of your seat. I mean, it gives you goosebumps just talking about it, because the ending of Seven is truly legendary, like one of the top 3 endings of movie history, and it all wraps up with Brad Pitt killing John Doe. I mean, what can you say about it? Like, I really don't know how you two can argue this. It's the best. You know what I mean?
Here we go.
It's so tense, and the dialogue between the characters is so fantastic, and the way John Doe plays Brad Pitt to make him realize that, because the whole movie Brad Pitt was like, society's okay, it's something worth fighting for, I'm gonna do this job, I'm gonna take him down because society's great and I love the world I live in. And John Doe just brings his reality down. He fucking chops off his wife's head, gives it to the character in a fucking box, makes him realize life is shitty, and he can't do anything but kill him. And it feels like justice, but it also leaves you with a pain in your stomach because Brad Pitt is seriously screwed for the rest of his life because of what John Doe did to him. And I mean, yeah.
That's a good point. So in my great choices that I made during the selection process and Jacob's rules, I did not fully understand the question. So my answer is someone who didn't actually die.
Gandalf the Grey?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's trying to pause it. I'm gonna pick a different.
No, I'm just gonna pick one right now.
I mean, what do you think it meant?
What?
I mean, what do you think?
Okay, no, time out. No.
We're back.
We're back.
Okay,
Nick is
so
gonna continue.
okay, so
Dumb kid.
what I have to say is that similar to the points that were made this last round, Christoph Waltz is an amazing actor. And the reason why he had the best death in Django was because it was necessary. We all knew it was necessary. It was needed. We could feel it coming, but you can't have that movie without it. It was so important. He knew what he was doing. That's why he said what he said before his death happened, and it was just the best way to go out. It started this chain reaction that he knew would happen because he trusted in Django, because Django was his boy, and he knew he could get out of it. He decided to follow his heart, and like if that's what leads you to death, I think that is a good death to have.
Okay. Rebuttal, yes, it's the best death in Django, but I don't feel it's too emotionally impactful. Just that it's done in a way that you don't cry, or even it's done so fast in that movie that you just move on, because that entire movie is about Django getting back with his wife. You just move on to that, okay, is Django going to get back with his wife, or is he going to fail? Is Calvin Candy Leo going to kill him, so you just move on to that bigger picture. I feel that in Django does ultimately get with his wife, and I feel you just move on from that death. And then John Doe in 7.
What you got?
I feel that's a really good pick. It surprised me. I didn't even think about it. But I just feel that while it is a great death, I feel that Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring is more impactful, just because you're with Boromir for longer. For one, just that that car ride is basically Kevin Spacey, John Doe's first scene. I mean, he comes into the
that scene in the police station.
Yeah, but detective.
Yeah,
but that's basically his first scene. So I feel that it's very impactful for what it means for Brad Pitt's future, that character's future, because it means that he's going to jail, but that he does not win. He succumbs to one of the 7 deadly sins. But I feel just that the fact that you are not sad, you are not disappointed in losing that character. You are disappointed in losing Boromir. He is the first and the last to go in the Fellowship. The group that is trying to save the world. I feel that Boromir's death is the most impactful, and it's done the best.
Okay, so I have all sorts of arguments.
Yeah.
Because
all sorts.
You were talking about the impact of death, and you're saying Boromir's was the biggest in Lord of the Rings, which is the best movie trilogy of all time. What? Hey. The impact of John Doe's death changed the entire film with a single shot of a gun.
I didn't say it was the most impactful. I said it was the best.
You were talking a lot about impact.
No, I don't even know if I said.
They're gonna know about Jake.
I don't even know if I said that word.
Let the record show you did say the word impact.
Okay, but like, this
is my rebuttal.
No, I am not. No, it is not the most impactful. I said it is the best. Go on.
I heard the word impact.
It is the best death.
Well, I don't even agree with that because I would say Gandalf the Grey's fall.
He doesn't die.
Gandalf the Grey dies. Gandalf the White comes back.
Then he comes
Gandalf
back.
the Grey is gone.
No, that coming back completely diminishes it.
Come on. Hero of Iluvatar is the only reason that he became Gandalf the White.
Yeah, exactly.
Saruman.
Yeah, we're
like could.
Sumerian shit.
Yeah, we're similar.
Get the fuck out of here.
We're completely getting off track.
Yeah, I mean we are.
It always comes back to Lord of the Rings.
Right. Yeah, so first of all, I don't even think that's the best death in Lord of the Rings because, I mean, Gandalf's death, it had so much weight onto it because Gandalf was such a more important character, and you have Elijah Wood screaming, he's your main character, you identify with him so much and you feel his pain. So yeah, Boromir's death is fantastic, but I wouldn't say it's the best death of all time. And Nick, what was your death again? Because I had an argument.
it was
Alt and Jenga.
Okay, so I have a somewhat similar argument to Jacob in that we're talking, let's restate the question. This is the best movie death of all time. The best movie death of all time should be the peak of the climax. It should be the peak of the movie.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, death is like one of the most biggest things that can happen in the movie's like storyline. Killing off a character, someone you've grown to like.
There's no growth in that character. We meet him in the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Jacob, I'm talking about movie characters and death. You go to identify with this character and learn what he's about, and then he's killed off. He's not on there anymore. So that's one of the biggest things in a movie. And when you're talking about the best movie death of all time, it should be the biggest thing in the movie. And not at all is Christoph Waltz's death in Django Unchained. There's still a whole nother third act to that movie where Django is just fucking slaughtering these slave people, and he ends up riding off into the sun with his wife. Like, there's still so much more that happens.
In nighttime when they rode off.
Whatever. I mean, it's a figure of speech. But yeah, I mean, it's not even the highlight of that movie, and
it doesn't have to be the highlight of the movie. This is not like the death has to be like the.
When you're talking about all time, I think it does. And in respect to Seven, the entire movie. As incredible movie as that was, it was all building towards when we finally get to see who this fucked up serial killer is. And Kevin Spacey gave a performance of a lifetime. I mean, he's amazing, so he's done plenty of other amazing stuff. But also that writing was amazing, and he just lived up to everything you wanted that to be. And the whole movie came to a head to that, and he played it perfectly, and it had so much impact. So
no, yeah, it is definitely like very impactful to the story for obvious reasons if you've seen that movie, but like it's just you don't like
how can you argue against this?
You don't know that character, like, and yes, like Brad, like you get no.
That's what's so great about Seven. 15 minutes, you learn so much about the character.
No, you just know that he's a psycho and that like he
you know so much more.
No, that
you know
like,
that he views society is so bleak.
No, and that point you said in the first round about like how he like makes Brad Pitt believe that the world is shitty. Like, no, that doesn't happen at all. Like.
He didn't do that. That's Brad Pitt's character identity. Morgan Freeman is, the world is terrible. I have to quit the police force because I can't deal with it anymore. And Brad Pitt asked to be moved on to that assignment. He wants to make the world a better place because he believes the world's a place to fight for. So when you say that's not his character identity, you're wrong.
No. That he doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about like the world is a better place. Like you think every man like
you think a smart screenwriter is going to explicitly say that? No. Lines you learn that.
He doesn't talk like that. And he
does.
No, he doesn't. And like it's just that like. And Nick just checking his phone.
Nick, do you have a rebuttal?
He's out of this.
I do have a rebuttal.
Would you like to share it?
No.
Yeah, go ahead and share it now.
All right. So, what I have to say is that Jacob, first of all, you're going about this argument all wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm fucking winning this. Nick's like,
I am winning this whole thing overall, and I can win.
Fight to the speed round.
I can win this so easily if I took Boromir. That's an easy win. What I have to say is that second of all,
not everything has to be a hot take.
I'll take more of them. Okay. What I have to say is the Boromir is like the second most important death in that movie.
What's the fucking third?
Gandalf the Grey.
What's the? He comes back.
We don't know. Boromir was like the least relevant in the entire Fellowship.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, over like a fucking Gimli or
Gimli's
or just because he's funny.
Okay.
Or over like Mary or Pippin.
Okay. Make an argument that he's above top 7.
Still, it doesn't matter. It's just that this is like a group that you would like want to like fight with.
Henry,
I would want to fight with Frodo and Legolas. In like respects to like a fantasy film or TV show or like people that you feel like as their friends and just that like you feel like just it's so like grounded and just it feels like more than a fantasy just that anyone can relate to. You want to be with this group and you wanna like even though it's fucking like dangerous and you don't know if they're gonna live, you wanna like travel across like beautiful New Zealand and or Middle Earth.
Sounds like the speech at the end of movie 2 by Sam.
The Joe Cortez brings out the fire.
That'd be
And the sun shines out the gray.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an incredible speech. You can go on for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
It all comes back to Lord of the Rings. It seems like.
yeah, like obviously, if Nathan wins here, we have a tiebreaker round. If Jake wins, Jake and Nick go against it. Nick wins, that's 4.
I just shit on you.
4 to 1 to nothing. And yeah, like clear, like decisive victory for Nathan.
Yeah.
And I did not let this like cloud my judgment because I didn't see Nick's movie, so it'd be unfair of me to like make a judgment.
I honestly don't even remember.
Yeah, but anyway, but yeah, like
Remember what?
all I'm saying is Jacob talks.
From my 2 experiences with your movie and your movie, like Nathan is clearly right.
No, it's not about what like movie like it's about who presented their argument better.
I understand. I said I didn't let it cloud my judgment because I said I didn't see Nick's movie, so I wasn't making my like decision based off that. But after I made my decision that like Nathan did make a better argument.
But you just said that after seeing both his and his movies that like Nathan is clearly right.
No, I said that I
That's
made.
what you just said.
I said I did not let it affect my judgment. That after I made my judgment that Nathan won the argument, I reflected and said like, well, what do I think? Well, Nathan's death scene was clearly better and more impactful, and I don't even actually remember too well. Like when you're
again, it's not about impactful; it's about best.
Okay, his was the best because I remember it still, and it was like
That's incredibly subjective.
And it was like holy fuck, like
when we attribute
That was one I was really like I felt strongly about.
Let's just move on. And so Nick is in the finals.
Tiebreaker.
And so yeah, we're gonna. We didn't really prepare because we only have 3 questions.
right.
So we only didn't prepare for a tiebreaker.
I think we should do heads and tails.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Seriously.
So yeah, we should just move on with heads. What is it called? Rock paper scissors.
Oh boy, it's a show.
Yeah, that's better than rock paper than heads or tails.
Wait, is my pen? No. I was like, what the fuck? I already have my pen.
Okay. So this is rock paper scissors for me and Nathan to go into the final round against Nick. The speed round. Okay. On shoot. Rock paper scissors shoot. Yes, I'm going to the speed round.
Wait, 2 out of 3.
No, we didn't say that.
What? Okay,
When did we ever play not 2 out of 3?
You always do 2 out of 3.
We've never played rock paper scissors.
But we didn't even say that.
Jacob, it's an unsaid
Okay,
rule.
whatever.
This is not being unreasonable. We always do 2 out of 3.
Whatever. Okay, whatever. We didn't even say that. No, Henry, just sit down for that. Okay, we can pause it in a second. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck!
Yes!
No. You don't even know what's going on.
Too, right?
I can't. No, you don't.
Because you did the first time.
No, yeah.
And then he says this.
Well, yeah, because we did say rock, paper, scissors. We just said 1. Like, we didn't. Okay, whatever. Let's go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck! Yes! Boys! Yes!
Hold on.
Okay. Okay, so just come on. Just to introduce the speed round, it's it's what it sounds like. It's just it's between me and Nick. It doesn't. The previous record of 3-1 does not matter. It's just there's gonna be 3 rounds here. It's just quicker. 15 seconds of pitch, 15 seconds of pitch, 15-second rebuttal, 15-second rebuttal. That's it. And yeah, who wins 2 out of 3 wins the whole thing.
Oh, okay, so 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15-second rebuttal, 15-second rebuttal.
Okay.
And we just to point out, like, the first 5 questions, we obviously plan this in advance, like, for our answers. Yeah. We do not know these questions.
We haven't been sticking to the time limits whatsoever. Do we
no, there weren't like specific time limits in that one.
There was like.
But yeah, in this one, why don't you get your phone out?
Yeah, that's a good idea because we kind of ramble on. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So who's starting?
Nick.
Okay.
Nick.
You're it. On your phone.
What male actor would you most want to go on a date with?
Wait until he starts talking.
Yeah. Wait, okay, time out. That shouldn't be allowed. That shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, you have more time to think about it.
I'm just gonna go. Jake Gyllenhaal, mostly so I can see what it's like to have a famous sister and go to that Thanksgiving and have that dynamic. Like, oh, she's Maggie, but I'm Jake. Like, we both have done a lot of things, so I want to see what's up with that. And plus, he's great.
So the question was
what male actor would you most want to go on a date with?
Mine's Dave Franco. He is more attractive than Jake. He is really funny. He's super nice. He's a very famous brother, James. He has several cats. He has a very hot wife, Dave Franco, clearly.
Yeah, doesn't get married.
Rebuttal?
My rebuttal is, you know so much about the Franco brothers, so from listening to Nathan talk about them, that you're not learning a lot through that. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal is someone that I don't know, and I want to know more because I respect him as an actor.
All right, so.
Like, Jake Gyllenhaal is, like, interesting, but, like, if you've watched his interviews, he, like, is actually not that, like, open. He's, like, pretty, like, a private dude. Like, Dave is all about having, like, a good time. Like, James would just be like, oh, yeah. Like, Dave would be like, time, and, like, Dave is more funny.
Fuck.
Classic Dave.
That was a good argument. I really like where both your heads at. And it kind of comes down to, like, what are you looking for in a date? Like, you guys might be looking for different things. But, yeah, overall, I think Jake's argument is better.
Let's go.
Yeah, 1-0. The cats really sealed up there.
Like, okay. Why not work this pen?
Yeah. Second one. And obviously, if I win this one, the third one's not necessary.
All right.
Wait, what? I thought we were. Oh, I thought it was 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now we'll start with Jake. Jake, most overrated movie of all time.
I would say Citizen Kane. It is people fucking like jizzing their pants over Orson Welles. And it's just so undeserved. And yeah, maybe it was incredible at the time, but like, does it translate well to today's time? No, it does not. It is not The Godfather. It's not Shawshank Redemption.
Hey.
It is overrated movie.
It's 30.
Oh, it's 15.
No, it's 15. Yeah. Citizen Kane.
All right, give Nick 30 for this one then.
No, he didn't give me.
You get 30 for the whole time. But just for context, by film scholars, Citizen Kane is the best movie of all time.
Yeah, no, we just said that.
I mean, like, that
gives like merit to Jake's argument.
Yeah, so
okay.
No, Nathan, I was just saying. Nathan,
I said for context.
Nathan, you're not even in this like debate right now.
Did I say? I said for context. If anyone doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're helping Jake right now with just by saying that. So,
yeah. So my most overrated movie is Memento, and that's because it is so fucking. It jerks itself off. It's masturbation in the truest, like, it's just like, oh, time doesn't work like normal. Oh, this story is kind of complex, but it's also not. It's so easy to break down on a much more rudimentary level, and it just fucks with the schedule.
No, it's 30.
No, it's not. I didn't get 30.
You got 22.
You guys both get 30 for the first.
No, we don't.
No, we each
No,
get
we
15.
don't. We get 15.
We each get 15, but
I
you
just
gave
said
22 to Jacob, so I took 22.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my rebuttal, when you think of like iconic movies like of all time, like a lot of people don't even know what Memento is. Like I'm sure Henry has not seen it. Like it is like Citizen Kane is a movie that like everyone knows of. Like Memento, like Christopher Nolan has gone on to do so much better things. Like Citizen Kane is a movie that everyone knows.
I would say that there's no fucking way Henry knows what Citizen Kane is, and judging movies from the 1940s on modern standards is stupid. And Memento is overrated because it does that classic thing that people our age like, which is mindfuck unnecessarily.
I don't know if I'm a long bias to get in here, but like I fucking hate it when movies do that, and
Do what?
I think they're so cool. Like
Do what?
Inception.
That doesn't accurately describe Memento at all. I feel like that's just Nick's weird opinion, and you make an argument for it. That movie doesn't do that at all.
Who's to say?
The movie's.
I mean,
It doesn't think it's like so creative or incredible. I mean, it's a reserved story that's really good by its editing and everything.
I mean, I have to give it to Jake just for the
I'm the winner.
just because the definition of overrated is that if you think something's bad, make a good case for it, and people widely regard it as like a very, very good movie, then that makes it overrated. But if it's not highly regarded and you're making like arguments for other people, like, well, I think they think this, then like that's a little less like solid ground to stand on there.
Good fighting, Nathan. Feel like I should have been in that final round.
I feel like I should have won.
So yeah,
I mean that was very interesting and like
I won the regular season.
I won the
much like
championship.
Michigan State in 2011 before they get beat by Louisville,
MSU
which
in
didn't actually
2013
happen because of
didn't get a
hookers.
shot.
Classic story.
I'm like MSU in 2013, we didn't get a shot.
But so that was a fight. It was fun for us.
oh yeah,
It's
all right.
interesting to watch, but
We'll let the viewers decide who actually won.
but yeah, it's
Stay tuned.
it's an hour 11 minutes. So I don't know
If
who's
you
gonna
feel
watch.
like watching it.
But so yeah, that's that's it. Thank you to our judge. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, it was fun.